and welcome to You Skip That. I'm Dan Clark.
And I'm Alex Grace.
This is the podcast where we introduce each other to movies the other one hasn't seen. And today is, I looked it up, the oldest movie that we've done.
Nice.
Yeah, it beat out White Christmas by like 2 years. So,
wow.
In fact, the three oldest movies that we've done have all been mine.
Wow.
It's this one, White Christmas, and Wait Till Dark.
That makes sense.
Yep. We are talking today about a classic movie musical, and one that holds a very special place in my heart, Singin' in the Rain, starring Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, Debbie Reynolds, Gene Hagen.
What a glorious feeling.
I'm happy again.
Me too.
I really am. Just watching this movie makes me so happy. But what did you think?
It's like a warm hug put on film.
It is.
It's just a smile a minute. It's hilarious. The music is good. The dancing is, of course, incredible.
I mean, you got Gene Kelly on the screen. Yeah.
You're watching him, and it reminds me, not your favorite show, but one of my favorite lines from Friends is somebody points out that Chandler is scared of Michael Flatley, Lord of the Dance. And he goes, it's as if his limbs are moving independent of his body.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he should be able to move that way.
Right, yeah.
But he does. And just charisma from everyone on the screen. This is also, according to Rotten Tomatoes, the highest rated movie we've seen. I went back and looked. This one has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
If you put any stock into that, there you go. But yeah,
I get it. There's nothing to not like about this movie.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, what did you not like about this movie? We can get it out of the way. Nothing.
Even we talked about it a little bit in White Christmas. There are side actors in this movie that are not good.
Right.
But that just adds to the charm. It's that classic Hollywood feel, which is what they're going for. It is trying to capture that feel. For those of you who don't know, the movie is about the silent film era transitioning to the sound era.
Talkies.
Where Gene Hagen and Gene Kelly play Lena Lamont and Don Lockwood, this power couple in Hollywood during the silent era, and then this little movie called The Jazz Singer comes out, and everyone wants to make talkies.
Yep.
And unfortunately, Lena Lamont does not have the proper speaking voice, which is something that happened for a lot of silent stars.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading about that and how that was the end of many a silent career, sounding like nails down a chalkboard.
Yeah, she has this shrieky, shrill, squawky kind of voice with a thick accent. And
the kind of voice that would make Harley Quinn go, man, she sounds weird, right?
Yeah, that's a little much, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so they come up with the idea, why don't we turn this into a musical and completely dub over everything with Debbie Reynolds' character, Kathy Selden, which works until it works too well, and then hijinks ensue. And hijinks, I say, of the kind that can only be found in 1950s movies. It was a very hijinksy time.
It was.
So I wanted to do this here. I kind of worried that we did this a little too close to White Christmas.
Yeah.
But this is our last episode before Valentine's Day, and this movie happens to be the first date that I went on with my wife. So,
aw, that's sweet.
Yeah, so we're doing it because it's my week and I can do what I want. So
absolutely.
There we go. This movie is very much, like you said, like a warm hug. There's no real sad parts to it. There's not. The conflict is played for laughs. It's great fun. I want to hear more of your thoughts.
You brought up the conflict, and the thing I love is the conflict isn't introduced until like the last maybe 20 minutes of the movie.
For most of the movie, the conflict is, how do we get rid of her?
Yeah.
How do we get rid of Lena without her knowing it?
Yeah.
It's just a scheme.
Yeah. And a scheme that they are utterly failing in until about the last 40 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Where they come up with the plan to just dub over her. The conflict really boils down in the last 20 minutes to just, when is this going to blow up in Lena's face?
Because it's gonna. It's that kind of movie. They're not going to outwit her. She's going to outwit herself. Yeah, she's going to fail somehow. That's not a spoiler. That's something that you get from the first time you hear her talk. The first time you hear her, it's this shriek of a voice. She's mad at everyone, and no one likes her being around.
An utterly unpleasant person.
Yeah, you can see on Don Lockwood's face that he doesn't want to be around her. And so from the very beginning, you're like, okay, well, this is a movie about her getting out of the way.
Yep.
And an hour and 45 minutes later, she's out of the way.
Yeah. From the very beginning, you see this movie's going to be all about that Hollywood schmaltz, and then on top of it, kind of the it's all a big fib of it. The little flashbacks while Don's talking about dignity.
Always dignity.
Always dignity. Showing him dancing in pool halls for nickels and doing a cruddy vaudeville show with his buddy and getting caned off the stage.
Yep.
Shepherd's crooked off the stage.
Becomes a star because he's such a good stuntman that they go, we'll just make you the star. That way we don't have to pay for a stuntman for you.
We can throw him into anything and he'll live.
Yeah.
We can put him in a plane and drive him through a building and he'll survive somehow.
He just went into a building and it blew up and he came out with like scorch marks and that's it.
Which is the most hilariously intentionally bad cut I've ever seen in a movie.
Yep.
You see him walk in and then like the whole screen jerks for a second and then the shack explodes.
Yep. It's that classic Hollywood charm.
And it's done in such a way that it's like it's winking at you as it does it.
Yeah, that whole sequence is not... I mean, he's lying to you the entire sequence. Because he's talking about, oh yes, my parents brought me up in the most classy of establishments and him dancing in a pool hall and the owner coming and grabbing him by the scruff and tossing
throwing
him
him out. You know, he and his buddy sneaking into a movie.
Yep. All while he's talking about it's dignity.
And Shakespeare.
Always dignity.
Always dignity.
Which he repeats several times in that. It's weird for a movie that was made 70 years ago.
Wow, yeah.
50s. Yeah. It has an oddly modern sense of humor.
Yeah.
At times.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they're showing the movie of Lockwood and Lamont's that ends up becoming a talkie and then becoming a musical. They show the audience and there's one girl that goes, oh my God, she's so glamorous. I think I'm going to kill myself. That sounds like something that could have been written today. That kind of guess I'll die kind of that very overreaction kind of sense of humor that's so popular now. And it's in this movie from 70 years ago. Yeah, for a movie that's made in the 50s, about the 20s, it's kind of interesting how timeless it is.
It kind of has the opposite of the sense of humor of White Christmas, and that watching White Christmas, you can tell exactly when Bing Crosby came up through entertainment.
Right.
And you can tell roughly when that movie was made. Close your eyes and just listen to the dialogue and you go, oh yeah, it was made in the 50s.
Right.
This, while there's certain, speech patterns and stuff, it's kind of got that, like you said, timeless quality where if you didn't know any better, that could have been made a couple years ago.
This movie actually, it has gained favor through the years because when it first came out, it came out the year after a movie called An American in Paris, which is another really good movie.
Yeah.
That is, I believe, directed by the same person. It stars Gene Kelly, lots of singing and dancing. It has a big, weird, out-of-nowhere ballet sequence right at the end of it. And so, at the time, people looked at it and went, okay, cool, they're just doing An American in Paris again. It's just about the film industry this time.
Yeah.
And then as the years have gone on, people are like, this one's better. When you take it out of that context, like I said, this is released a year later. In fact, they had to rush this out of theaters because An American in Paris won Best Picture, so they had to take out this one to put An American in Paris back in theaters.
Yeah, that's funny.
So it kind of suffered a little bit. I mean, it did well. It was a success, but it did kind of suffer from the comparisons to An American in Paris. Again, this one's the better movie. I've seen both. This is the better movie. Nothing against An American in Paris. Both are good. This one's better. Yeah. So, in fact, I'd have to really think to tell you the plot of An American in Paris.
Yeah, whereas this one, it's seared into your brain on the first watch.
Yeah, it's not a complicated movie.
Yeah.
They just get up there and they do the thing, and it's brilliant. I know that this was, shockingly, a very early movie for Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah, she definitely looks young in this.
She's like 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pre-Carrie Fisher.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, howdy, I'm glad you brought that up. It's painfully obvious she's her mom, right?
Yes.
Especially in that first scene where she and Gene Kelly meet, and she's just sassing him the whole time. I'm like, if you didn't tell me before we watched this when this was filmed, and then that was Carrie Fisher's mom, I would have thought that was Carrie Fisher for a couple minutes there.
Right, yeah.
She's just giving him the good old Princess Leia business there.
Yeah, he's trying to escape from a group of rowdy fans that have kind of ripped his jacket apart. And so he climbs up on top of a trolley and jumps down into the next passing car, which happens to belong to her. And once she realizes that he's not some thief trying to steal her car, she starts laying into him for being an actor. Oh, yeah, you're just a shadow on film.
She's like, I'm a real actor of the stage, and you're just this pantomiming doofus.
Because when it's still silent movies. It's like, oh yeah, you just get up there and like make facial expressions and wave a sword around and you're done.
Yeah, she just sits there, makes a couple faces, and goes, like that.
Yeah.
It was funny just seeing that familial resemblance, even in acting style.
Yep. Yeah. And then there's the one that we haven't talked about yet, and I didn't do this on purpose, but he's probably my favorite. There's Donald O'Connor.
Yes.
As Cosmo Brown, who is
just the best.
He's comic relief, the character.
Yeah.
They let him have a little bit of something to do, and other than that, he's there to make you laugh. In fact, he has a song about it.
He has a song about it, which is fantastic.
Make him laugh is what it's called, yeah.
And one of the better comedy musical numbers I've ever seen.
Yep. Apparently when they were creating that scene, Donald O'Connor just kept throwing out, well, back when I was in vaudeville, I would do this thing where there was this little dummy on stage. He would keep putting its hand on my leg, and they went, okay, cool, that's in there. I did this thing where I'd walk over a board, and they'd pick it up, and I'd do, like, the swimming thing. Like, cool, that's in there. Like that SpongeBob meme of, write that down. That was the whole sequence. And they went, okay, we'll do that here, that here, that here, that here, and there's the choreography. Go.
It made me laugh so hard. I almost wanted you to rewind so I could try and watch it again and see what parts I missed when I was cry laughing.
We can watch it again after this. I'm fine with that.
At least that scene.
That scene, the movie, I don't care. I'll watch this movie anytime. But he also has great one-liners. He has the joke early on when the women are tearing his jacket off and everything right before he meets Kathy. He's standing off to the side and Don goes, Cosmo, call me a cab. He goes, okay, you're a cab. That's the character.
Yeah.
That's it. He always has the right line at the right moment. It's not meant to be realistic.
Right.
You know, in that situation, I would like to think that your best friend would help you out, but no, he just always has that snarky one-liner.
You don't know me very well.
If a bunch of women were tearing my clothes off in public, I think my wife would have my back.
This is true. Your black belt wife would wreck shop, I think.
Yeah, I got someone else to have my back in that situation.
And I'll just sit back and watch and laugh.
Yeah.
And call you a cab.
But he has great facial expressions. He's a fantastic dancer.
Oh, yeah.
Great timing.
Really does a good job of keeping up with Gene Kelly, which is impressive.
Yeah, Gene Kelly, if you're not well versed in this era of movies, Gene Kelly's one of the greatest dancers of all time.
Yeah.
It's him and Fred Astaire in terms of on-screen dancers. Keeping up with him is insane.
Side character I love, who I don't even think got a name, was the director.
Roscoe Dexter. Yep. Douglas Fowley. He plays the director of The Dueling Cavalier, the movie that they're turning into a talkie.
Yeah. Him being exhausted trying to get Lena to speak into the microphone had me in stitches.
And her sassing him right back.
Yeah.
I love the line where he's like, you have to speak into the bush. There's a microphone in the bush. You have to speak to the bush. She goes, well, I can't make love to a bush. And then they put it in her ruffle on the front. Yeah. And they pick up her heartbeat.
That got me.
And then they put it on her shoulder and she keeps looking away.
Turning away. The bit where it shows them in the booth listening to the recording. And it's just her talking for a second, and then talking over here, and then talking for a second, and then talking over here.
It's a lot of fun to see it kind of actually go over the problems that Hollywood actually went through when they were transitioning to talkies.
Loved the bit where the sound gets out of sync.
Yep.
That was fantastic.
No. Yes. Yeah, it's very...
Because that's happened to all of us. Because I remember that transition to digital when that started happening again out of nowhere. Especially streaming. You'd get weird buffering or something and the video would keep playing, but the sound would be like 10 seconds behind.
Right. That still happens on occasion.
Yeah, occasionally.
We haven't even really talked about the music in this.
Yes.
There's not a bad song in the movie.
There's not. And we were actually just talking before the podcast about I have a tendency with a lot of movies, including several we've done on the podcast, where years ago I was bored and looking at Wikipedia and I just happened to read what the movie was about. There are like 2 or 3 we've done on the podcast that is 100% not true about. Like, I went in completely blind to the point of not even knowing what the movie was about.
Right.
This is one of those movies.
Really?
I didn't even know this was about making a movie when we sat down to start watching it. I knew Gene Kelly sang in the rain and danced around a lamppost, and I knew Debbie Reynolds was in it. That was the extent of my knowledge of Singing in the Rain.
There you go.
So I was, wow, so that song's from this. Make 'em laugh. I've heard that before.
Make 'em laugh is definitively from this. A lot of the songs were including Singing in the Rain, are from older movies.
Older movies, yeah.
That they just repurposed. In fact, you can see in the opening credits, they say that the movie is
inspired by the song.
They word it weirdly, but yeah, inspired by a thought from the song. Yeah, obviously the Singing in the Rain sequence is great, iconic even.
Yeah, as soon as it happened, I'm like, there it is.
Yeah.
I saw the thing.
Yep. Moses Supposes.
Got me. That was great. Good Morning.
Good Morning. I love Good Morning.
It's just so bright and cheery.
Yeah, considering it's at night and in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, every single one of them, they get in there, it communicates the feeling that you're supposed to have.
I do have to say, I loved Broadway Melody, especially the first part of it. The bit with the conveyor belts was awesome.
Right.
Where all the people were just standing on him, going by as he was dancing.
Walking on his own conveyor belt, so he's walking, but
so he's walking but not moving. The funniest part of that is the beginning and end of it, where Gene Kelly goes, so I'm picturing this big musical number, and it's going to be something like this. And it fades out, shows the entire number, which is long.
It's like a 10-minute number.
It's like, it's pushing 15, I think. Yeah. I was like, is this the rest of the movie? It just keeps going.
Yeah, that is the one I will say, and we'll get back to your thing. Rewatching it, that's the moment where I go, okay.
But to finish my thought, the best part of that is at the end, when it fades back in and Gene Kelly goes, so that's basically it. And the studio owner goes, I can't really visualize it, but I take your word for it. We'll see it when it's on film.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the kind of thing when I'm talking about how modern the feel. It has some very meta humor.
Yeah.
Or it's poking fun of itself it almost breaks the fourth wall, where it's just that kind of wink of, yeah, you guys just saw it, and this is a joke based on the fact that you just saw it.
Yeah, you just saw it, and he didn't.
Other than that, I can't think of any real downtime that the movie has. All the songs feel important. The laughs are frequent. It's not a comedy that forgets that it's a comedy at any point. Any other thoughts before I get to a significant amount of trivia?
A significant amount of trivia.
Oh, yeah, these old movies have a ton of it.
Yeah, you talk about this movie just not having downtime, and other than Broadway Melody, which didn't have any laughs, other than that, I cannot remember a time in this movie where I was not actively smiling or laughing. It's that much fun.
Yeah, and the songs will stay stuck in your head.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those that your brain's just going to churn it out. 6 months from now, you're going to go, Moses supposes his toes are roses. All right, trivia. Make 'em laugh.
Make 'em laugh.
That's another one that your brain's just going to belch out at you. Yeah, that'll just... Today's the day that song is suddenly stuck in your head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Mm-hmm. I got a bunch of those. After the Make 'em Laugh sequence, Donald O'Connor was hospitalized because he was a 4-pack-a-day smoker.
Oh my gosh.
Doing all of that on concrete floors.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So all those dives that he does and everything, that's on concrete.
Oh.
Worse yet, after he got out of the hospital, and rumors varied about how severe it was. Somewhere he was in the hospital for days, somewhere he was on bed rest. So
yeah,
there's lots of conflicting reports. He came back and they went, there was something wrong with the aperture. Can you do all that again?
Oh my gosh.
And so he did it again. No word on whether he landed in the hospital after the second time.
Wow.
Yeah. Debbie Reynolds, she was not an experienced dancer and worked tirelessly to keep up with Donald O'Connor and Gene Kelly. I think did a pretty good job.
I think did spectacular.
Gene Kelly didn't think so. Half the trivia on this movie, by the way, is how much of a jerk Gene Kelly was all through the filming.
You can just kind of look at Gene Kelly and go, that guy's probably a jerk off screen.
He's a perfectionist. He didn't want to be there to an extent. Like, he wanted to be out of his contract, is what I read. Apparently berated Debbie Reynolds during the Good Morning number so badly that she ran off and hid under a piano.
Oh.
Where a kind passerby found her and said, "What's wrong?" She said, "I can't dance well enough." And he went, "Well, I'm Fred Astaire, so I could probably help out a little bit." And walked her through the whole thing.
That's amazing.
But yeah, Gene Kelly regularly ridiculed her. She worked hard enough on that sequence, the Good Morning sequence, which is the main one that she does dancing.
Yeah.
She does little dances elsewhere, that she had to be carried back to her dressing room afterwards because she'd burst blood vessels in her feet. She was dancing so hard. That last shot where they're going up and over the couches had to be done 40 times.
Wow.
Before they got it right. The Singin' in the Rain sequence, That was filmed in Culver City, where they were suffering a water shortage at the time.
Oh,
and
lovely.
so they had to pick the times of day that they could film it, because if they filmed it in the afternoon, people were coming home from work and would turn on the sprinklers, would tank the water pressure, and they couldn't get the rain through. Also, Gene Kelly had a fever of 103 through that entire sequence.
Man, that's like Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he's dancing better than you or I ever will.
Yeah.
With a fever that you should probably go to the hospital for.
I think it's 105 or 106 you gotta go to the hospital for.
That you need to, but should. I mean,
Yeah, probably.
He should have at least been in bed.
He should have been not dancing in the rain and singing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you found any of that set to be familiar.
It did strike me as familiar.
It's used as a set in episodes of Seinfeld.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
I just heard that little bass riff in my head.
The Broadway ballet sequence, which we both loved so much, took a month to rehearse, 2 weeks to shoot, and cost about a fifth of the overall budget.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And with all those sets and the dancer, you can see where the money went. Like, the money's there on screen. The costume designer, a guy named Walter Plunkett,
heck of a name,
had to create about 500 detailed costumes.
Wow.
He said it was the most work that he'd ever done for a film, and he did costumes for Gone with the Wind.
Wow.
He said a lot of the extra work came from the accuracy that he had to put into it, since audiences in 1952 remembered 1920s Hollywood much better than 1930s audiences remembered the Civil War.
Yeah, sure.
So he couldn't cheese it at all. Be like, no one's going to notice if that people remember. The only bit of alternate casting that I was able to find that meant anything to me, there was lots of, this guy that neither of us have ever heard of was considered for RF, you know?
Right.
Judy Garland.
Oh, interesting.
Was considered briefly for Kathy.
Okay.
But was deemed to be too old. Last bit of trivia I have here. During the sequences where Kathy is dubbing over Lena Lamont, they couldn't get her to have the right tone that they wanted, and so they actually dubbed over her, dubbing over Lena Lamont. The best part is, the best person they could find to dub over the speaking parts, Gene Hagen, who played Lena Lamont.
That's so funny.
So when you catch the speaking parts, which is just like one scene...
Yeah.
It's actually Lena Lamont voicing over Debbie Reynolds, voicing over Lena Lamont. So that's actually her speaking voice in that scene.
Wow.
The singing voice is someone else, so I'm not going to butcher her name. It was a different, very talented singer for the Would You song. But yeah, that's one of my favorite bits of movie trivia, that it's actually her voicing over the person who's voicing over her across all of movies. That's one of my favorite pieces of trivia. So
that's a wild one.
Yep.
Like, my brain is just trying to compute that. I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's like, wow.
You hear her voice. There's no way that Gene Hagen actually speaks that way. But it's astounding, because when Kathy is voicing over her, it's this deep, rich voice. And so the idea that that's actually how she sounds
in
and
real
she can
life.
Get all the way up there. Seriously, think of Bernadette from Big Bang Theory on helium.
Yeah, imagine if Bernadette shared a half-sister with Fran Drescher.
Yeah. It's a voice. So the idea that she has that much of a range in her voice is just...
That is astounding.
Yep. Other thoughts on the movie?
This is a full price buy.
Good.
Yeah, might be bought before I get home.
I think you already own it.
Oh, do I?
I think so.
Funny.
I spotted it because last week we used your account to watch Transformers.
Yeah.
And I saw it.
While we were looking in the movie collection?
Yeah,
that's
I saw
funny.
it down there.
I don't even have to buy it.
How about this?
How about it?
What was the last movie that you watched not for the podcast?
The last movie I watched not for the podcast, Wednesday, had a day off, and I found a movie in our iTunes account that I realized I either hadn't seen at all or hadn't seen since I was a little kid. A movie called Cloak and Dagger with Dabney Coleman. Get this might end up on the podcast, so I won't go into too much depth. It's about a kid who plays a tabletop role-playing game with his next-door neighbor and the guy who runs the game store, where he's a spy named Jack Flack. Jack Flack kind of becomes his imaginary friend to help him cope with some rough things that have happened in his life. And through his overactive imagination and his hallucination of Jack Flack, he ends up embroiled in a real spy adventure. It's just a great classic 80s kids family movie. Yeah. It's got a little bit of that Goonies vibe. It's not as good as Goonies, but what is?
Yeah.
But Dabney Coleman's actually great in it. But yeah, it's a fun movie. It might end up on the list.
Yeah, I've gone through a little bit of a movie stretch lately. One, I'll go ahead, because we've named movies. In fact, you just named one that'll probably show up. A movie called Last Night in Soho. I watched Nightmare Alley, which is a laugh a minute.
I mean, it sounds like it.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds very cheerful.
Another Guillermo del Toro movie.
Oh, there you go.
Very good, very bleak. And then I watched The Menu with Ray Fiennes and Anya Taylor-Joy and Nicholas Hoult. And that was probably good.
It was probably good.
I'm still digesting it. No pun intended.
Whether it was intentional or not, that was good.
I'd say check out Last Night in Soho. We're probably going to do that one for the later on in the year. If you're into bleak stuff, check out Nightmare Alley. It's a period piece, lots of circusy stuff. Weird, sad movie. And then The Menu, just kind of play it by ear. Just check it out if that seems like something that you want to check. I just wanted to see more Ray Fiennes ever since we watched Grand Budapest.
What's really wild is, of the 4 movies you and I just named, there are repeats from the podcast in 3 of them. Mm-hmm. Ray Fiennes.
Yep.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yep.
And Dabney Coleman.
Yep.
I just thought that was interesting. Dabney Coleman would be a 3-peat.
Yeah.
Possibly the first. I don't think we have a 3-peat yet.
We might. I don't know. It's getting harder and harder to remember. I'm trying to think if Last Night in Soho has anyone repeat, and I don't think it does.
Yeah.
We haven't done anything with Anya Taylor-Joy.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, she's
pretty good.
She's good. Yeah. I just haven't seen her in much.
Yeah.
Another question for you. We talked about how there are songs from this movie that are going to pop back in your head at random. What's a song or two that's like that for you that just gets out there?
You had to ask this because you know what one of the songs that lives in my head rent-free ever since we went to Disney World.
I'm going to be real honest. One of the reasons that I asked this is I wanted to see the contortions you had to go through not to start
singing. Yeah.
Alex is a big singer.
And nothing can stop me now.
Oh, yeah. Mickey's Runaway Railway. Yes.
Yeah. If you ever go on this ride, prepare yourself, because this song will just jump into your brain at the least opportune times.
Yep.
You'll be standing in line at the bank and just start humming. Mm-hmm. And people will look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah. Did you have any other songs?
Oh, I've got plenty of songs. Those are the 2 that are like
the big ones right now.
The big offenders right now.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a child of the 90s and early 2000s, so naturally Never Gonna Give You Up is always in my head.
Yep. Rickrolling yourself.
I rickroll myself. It's a good song.
It is. It's a very good song.
It's a great song. Yeah. And one of the funniest music videos I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It's not intentionally funny, but it is.
Of course, it doesn't hurt that you've just got done rewatching Ted Lasso not too long ago.
True. Yeah.
That does feature that song.
Such a good show.
It is. Good scene, too.
Yep.
One of the big songs, this one has been bouncing around my brain, occasionally making its way back out.
Okay.
Ever since the video game it's from first came out, or at least the one that I discovered it from, which was like 96, I think.
Okay.
Serious song from...
Oh, yeah. Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. See, there it is. He's dancing.
I'm dancing.
Yep.
Because I can't risk copyright strikes, but...
Right. I don't think we could make it exact enough for them to really bother us, but we'll do better safe than sorry.
This is Nintendo. You doubt their power.
Yeah, you know.
The only people I'm scared of more than Disney.
Yeah. Notoriously litigious.
Disney cares what people think about them.
Right? Nintendo is kind of...
Off and on.
A little bit. Odd One, the song from the end of Muppet Christmas Carol, Thankful Heart.
Yep, that's a good one.
Year round, it'll just pop in.
Yeah.
All right, any other thoughts on the movie?
No? A+.
Yeah.
It deserves 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right. There's nothing wrong with this movie. It's a perfectly inoffensive, comfortable movie.
It's so much fun.
And yet still manages to kind of stick in your brain. It's not one of those fluffy movies where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's good.
It's good.
I got nothing
forget
bad
about
it. Yeah. It manages to be fun, inoffensive, and still just one of the best movies you're gonna see.
I mean, right from the opening, you have that little title card and then them singing in the rain in the yellow raincoats.
With their umbrellas.
Yeah. It's great.
With the overture playing. Yeah. Right up to it. It's become kind of what it was inspired by. It has just become one of those, a simpler time when, oh no, the worst problem we have is they're talking in movies.
Yeah.
Anyways, would you like to talk about socials?
Socials. We're going to have a little social time here.
Yeah.
A little social hour. So Facebook, we're on it.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can find us by searching "You Skipped That?" ? That's "You Skipped That."
Yes.
I'm not going to clip that. This is for the YouTube captions. If you're listening to this there, you skipped that.
We put it
in
We put it in the past tense because when we record this, we've no longer skipped it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can find us on Threads and Instagram. Mm-hmm. Just search @You Skipped That. No question mark. No capitalization. No spaces.
Get it?
Just good old fashioned.
Yeah. And you'll see a little icon that looks like whatever it looks like on your podcast app, choice.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the little marquee with "You Skipped That" on it.
Mm-hmm. And that's where you can find us. All kinds of fun.
Yeah, come join us.
Fun on a bun.
Wow. It's like a Futurama reference in there.
Yeah. We will see you next week for one of Alex's movies. One of the few things I know about the movie Alex is going to be doing next week is that it contains a reference to Singin' in the Rain.
It does.
Elocution lessons in general,
yeah.
But we'll take it as a Singin' in the Rain reference.
I think it almost has to be.
Yeah.
Considering it came out 40 years later.
Right.
So, anyway.
Until then, I'm Dan Clark.
And I'm Alex Grace.
And this has been You Skip That.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.